Why, hello. So good of you all to come this evening. My ramblings are heard by hundreds and hundreds of you every day. My seed is spreading. Time grows short for this blighted generation of humanity. And I am ensuring that my progeny will go on long after this bloated, disgusting body ceases to work. I think it's live now. Yes. Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? Was it not your sin trapped the unicorn? Even now, the seed of what you've done germinates within you. That's legend. Was it not your sin that trapped the unicorn? Even now, the seed of what you've done germinates within you. That's a really, really, like, underappreciated film. Legend is pretty fucking awesome from start to finish. I mean, I have a few little quibbles with it. I think a lot of the, like, early lovey-dovey kind of stuff goes on way too long. We already kind of get it. It could have been established way more discreetly without the just, like... But, you know, once again, it sets that tone of this is idyllic and dick or no dick step. Okay. Dick or no dick step. Paul, you're not you when you're hungry. Eat a Snicker. Dude, I'm not hungry. I am full. I got a full belly. Do you think Anthony Hopkins has another Hannibal movie in him? I don't really want to see it, though. Because I just don't believe that, like, this dude that is known now to be this super, you know, powerful... I just don't believe that he would still be able to get away with being involved in anything. Like, he's locked up and shit. And it made sense in the first movie. And I guess it kind of made sense in Red Dragon, but the more, like, serial killers that we find that are directly attached to Hannibal Lecter, the less believable he becomes as a character. Because, like, I could believe that he was a dude that was a psychologist that was using that closeness to kind of pick out different victims and eat them, and you know what I mean? But I don't believe that he was doing that and also following every burgeoning serial killer in the world and, you know, knowing about what they do. I'm technically supposed to be working on school shit right now, but, I mean, Paul, well, yeah. I mean, maybe you should work on school shit. Silence of the Lambs. What superhero would Paul be? The Blob. Nothing moves the Blob. Hope you're having a good day, Paul. Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. I hope you're having a swell day as well. You're withdrawing off Xanax, you feel like you're dying. Yeah, that's a tough one to come down. Like, benzos in general are very habit-forming, so... And withdrawals from them can actually be kind of dangerous and stuff. So be careful. What's your favorite New Kids on the Block song? Probably The Right Stuff. You know, dun 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 dun. I was watching your depressing video on the state of education in the United States. Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling that's why most people kind of avoid it as a subject, because it is really depressing to know that that's what's going on, coast to coast in the United States. That's how stuff is being done. But my theory is like nothing gets solved if it's not talked about. If you can't, people don't want to face how fucked up the school system is. They want to believe that kids are still getting a quality education in school because they did, and maybe their parents did as well. But that is not what's going on. It's interesting I don't want to get back on that fucking subject, but I'll just say this. It's interesting for me because I got to work in the same district that I was a student in, and at some of the same schools that I attended within that district. So I got to see how things were done with an adult eye, and I got to kind of try and juxtapose that with what I could remember of being at that school and how different things were. And it was just insane how different. It's crazy. Like, my favorite part about school was teachers going above and beyond to make sure that victims of bullying were punished the very instant they would stand up for themselves. I mean, I don't know, dude. I didn't really have that experience as a kid, at least, and I'm pretty sure I didn't see a lot of that going on. I mean, the bully structure has, if anything, it's strengthened since I was a kid, because there are just more of them. There are more kids out there that have antisocial tendencies, I guess, probably because there are more kids coming from homes that couldn't give a fuck about them. Aren't doing anything to raise them on their own. So there's a lot of like just kind of drifting kids. That's another really kind of sad part about going to work for me every day when I had that job. It was like, you could tell from the energy that came off of the kids that they were just bored, and a lot of them were getting maliciously bored. You know what I mean? Like, to the point where it's like, well, I'm just going to cause fucking trouble here all day, and I'm going to create my own little social structures and have my little group that fights with these other groups and shit. I mean, you just see it happening. And it's pretty sad. It's a pretty sad thing to be around. Were there any Stanford prison experiment elements felt in your transition from a student to a staff at your school? I mean, not really, it wasn't really part of my job to do anything with the students other than, I occasionally, I would train them on a piece of technology and stuff, but I wasn't the dude that got involved in any kind of disputes, and kids kind of knew that, I guess, about me. I always tried to be cool with them when they asked questions, because, those of them, there was a lot of little sad things that I would notice. Like, I would go into a classroom to work on, updating some software, installing some new hardware, changing out fucking keyboards and shit. And I'd see that these computers weren't being used. They were just covered in fucking dust. And there's thousands of dollars worth of taxpayer investments sitting on a shelf in a classroom, not even being used. And when I would go to work on them, because they worked, they just weren't being used, I'd turn them on, and several of the kids would just kind of gravitate towards me, and they'd be like, oh man, they'd ask questions about, what are you doing? And it was clear that there was at least a little group of people in that classroom that really could have benefited from having a teacher that was willing to sit down and let them use the fucking computers and teach them how to do things on them and stuff. But Not that there was really much that they could do. Like, so much that was done with the computers was just like, because like they'd get these computers, but they'd want it restricted what the kids could do on them. So basically, the computers were like little entertainment stations with very limited and then they started using it for testing. Well, then the computers became something that the kids hated because they had to spend hours sitting in front of this boring fucking test. You know what I mean? And that's what the computers were. It was all either testing or practice for testing. So it's like, you know, now the kids don't even like computers anymore. I really did see that start happening, though. When I first started, at that job at the district, I remember that kids were always super stoked when new computers were coming, you know what I mean? And that kind of waned as the years went on because they, you know, I guess they'd been in school long enough at that point to know that they weren't going to be allowed to do anything cool with it. So, unless you're rapping, man, you're one of my favorite rappers of all time. Okay. Well, thank you. What is the hardest drug you would try if it were legal? I mean, I don't think that I've ever really backed off on trying a drug, you know, legality or no. Like, if I haven't tried a drug, there's probably a reason for it. Like, I never tried, and it was big, you know, in the 90s and early 2000s, like ecstasy or whatever, MDMA. I never tried that because I've seen people take it, and I don't think I would enjoy feeling that way, you know. So I've tried to make, you know, a conscious decision to, you know, do a little research, you know a little bit about the drug and what it does to people before you take it. I'm not a real big experimenter, but I would never do heroin because I know that that would be the end of me. Like, that would become the only thing I wanted to do. Speaking of drugs, hey, Paul, are there any mental, emotional issues one could have where you would advise them to not try mushrooms? Well, certainly if you're medicated for depression and you're on any kind of serotonin reuptake inhibitor, SSRI, any kind of drug classified as serotonin reuptake inhibiting, if you're doing that, you don't want to take mushrooms. So, just a warning. You can get what's called serotonin poisoning, and you can just die. I actually fucked up and took a sizable dose of mushrooms once while I was on those drugs, just out of sheer fucking ignorance, and it was not pleasant. Yeah, seriously. Like, well, one of the things that mushrooms does in your brain is it causes a massive kind of burst of serotonin. And that serotonin in a person that's not treated for depression with a reuptake inhibitor would eventually be absorbed back into the bloodstream so that the supply of serotonin while you're high on mushrooms remains constant, but it doesn't build up. If you're on a reuptake inhibitor, that means that serotonin is staying in your bloodstream and more is constantly being produced. I mean, you can see the problem. What would a modern day Pangea be like? I mean, I have no idea. Our species is so defined by, you know, this kind of geographical distance and all the different cultures that sprung up around that distance that I don't even really know. I mean, I assume that at one point, one culture probably would have dominated all. You know, the only thing that protected these little countries was just the sheer distance between them and the oceans between them. It took a lot of time for man to learn to traverse that shit. I think if everybody was on the same continent, you know, people would be constantly ranging out farther to find more land and more resources, and they'd eventually run into each other, and the dominant culture in that conflict would win and absorb the other. And then that culture would go walking, you know, on, and maybe it'd meet, you know, a southern human culture that was making its way north that was way bigger and get absorbed. Eventually, you know, you'd have this one homogenous kind of structure, I guess. We would have warred ourselves to death. See, I don't believe that. What philosophy do you adhere most to? Pessimism. Paul, I want to know what drugs you done. I mean, I don't want to go. Can we not, dude? Let's just go down a different road. Let's just go down a different. Let's not make this another fucking like. Let's just talk about drugs all day. I look like Evan LaFlavor. Cool. And I know his name is not LaFlavor, but I call him LaFlavor because, you know, his raps got flavor. Suck me, Negro cock. Suck me, Negro cock. Like, I love the people that are trying to trick people into saying shit. Like, you don't got to trick me. I'll probably just say it. You don't got to spell it out and stuff. Pippi Longdickens. You miss hypothetical medical advice? Yeah. We've had to do that segment a few times. Did you know that Dark Souls had an E3 display that was a dude getting stabbed and he had a fountain of blood spraying from him? Say what you want about Dark Souls, you gotta admit that's cool. I guess so, yeah. That is pretty cool. Just like a constant blood fountain. That's a pretty good thing, but I don't know, dude. I've watched enough, like, you know, hey, man, behind-the-scenes footage, or come with us as we vlog our way through Comic-Con. I've kind of decided that I just don't ever want to go to a fucking con. I don't think it's for me. It just looks like a fucking nightmare. But good on you if you go to them. Good on you. There are people at cons can't do it. I mean, that is part of the problem. It's not the whole problem. It's just like the fucking overstimulation of it. Like the booths are all like whittle, 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 whittle. There's a hot chick dancing on a car over there. It just feels like it would remind me of that scene when they do a bunch of ether and go into the Circus Bazooko. You know what I mean? Whittle, whittle, woo, woo, woo. Get your picture up on the big giant fucking waving man. You're gonna be 10 stories tall, man. Hey, Paul, I took your advice when Tony the Tongue came for me. I ripped his head off and stuck my long red penis into his neck hole and forced it into his abdomen. Cool. Thanks, Swamp Ape, for letting me know. I don't know why you were scared of Tony the Tongue anyway. I mean, I really don't like big crowds either, so I can sympathize. Well, it depends, though. Because, like, I've been in big crowds where I felt really fine. And it kind of just seems to be a certain type of crowd, I guess. Like, I've always felt fine at DP meetups. I've never felt like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed and like there's too many fucking people, even if we're all crushed into a tiny little joint, you know? Because the vibe is always really good. Well, maybe not always, but 99.9% of the time, the vibe is good. And I felt the same way at like P-Land or Z. I was really drunk, though, so that may have affected my... Maybe I just need to be wasted to be in public. There's other super chats. Oh, okay. Let me take a look. Dude. Okay, thank you. Do you like The Office? It's pretty funny. Which one? The American Office or the fucking British Office? That's what I want to know. Yeah, like, you know, I don't know. It like seems like a thing that you'd wait in line a lot at. That really is the biggest problem, I think, with cons, is like I look at it and I'm like, oh, so yeah, there's probably going to be some cool stuff to see, but I'm mostly going to spend my day waiting in line for shit. Want to play that new game? Get in line. Want to see that new fucking thing? Get in line. Want to check out the booth or go hear a fucking talk? Well, go line up and get your ticket to it. Line up. It's time to go into this. Line up. Yeah, unless you're famous. I guess that's true. For education, do you think Finland model will work better? I know very, very little about the Finnish education system. I have read a little bit about it, and I just don't see that type of... I mean, yeah, it would work better, but the transition from what we have now to that is so insane that I just don't see it happening. Did you keep up the weight loss you and Ben started? No, I've gained a little bit of weight back, but thankfully not all of it. How much do we need to donate before we see another ego vid? I don't want to do that, dude. I don't want to bring back the id and the fucking ego. It's bullshit. Famous people, rich people, and cripples don't have to wait in lines. Fuck you, cripples. Shit. I have very little hope for the new Eminem album. Very, very little hope. I mean, maybe. Who knows? Maybe it'll be okay. Thanks for reading my comments. I feel famous. Whoa. The glitz and glamour of having your comment read by Paul's ego during a Highdeology stream. Yeah, The Last Jedi is going to be interesting to see. I'm kind of stoked for it, honestly. I've got a little twinge of excitement in me about it. I don't like those new little creatures that they're trying to foist in there. I don't know why they haven't learned their lesson on that. I guess it's because it's Disney. They got to have some little thing in there they can sell to kids, some little squeaky toy bullshit. But porgs, yeah, that's what they were called. Porgs. That looks pretty bad. I almost never buy movies opening night, but I'm taking a chance. Yeah, I mean, it's a Star Wars film, right? So it's worth going and doing the opening night experience. I may not be at the first showing, you know, but I'm probably going to go on opening day and see what's happening. New Star Wars makes you cringe. I mean, whatever. You haven't seen enough of it yet to really ascribe. Don't be a cringe kid, okay? Well, it might be cringe. I'll let you know. But don't be a cringe kid where you're just like, oh, shit, man. Oh, did you see that? That movie's gonna be cringe, bro. Like, don't be a cringe kid, dude. Let the 10-year-olds handle that while they're playing Call of Duty and stuff. Oh my God, you hear the guy's voice? Sounds like his balls just dropped. Cringe. Teabagged you, kid. Oh my God. Dude, why are you guys even playing? You're so cringy. Oh no. just hope they go for something new with the new Star Wars. I might get tired of Yeah. I'm. They're teasing, and it might just be that. They might just be cock teasing, like somebody switching over to the dark side or some kind of power dynamic switch between Rey and Kylo Ren. Or, it might just be like she joins with him. Maybe there's no real, like... I would like to see, over the course of the trilogy, maybe an inversion. Like, I'd like to see Rey lose her grip on her enormous force power and get turned to the dark side. And conversely, I'd like to see Kylo Ren challenged enough to come out of it all the way and battle back and defeat her. You know what I mean? In the end, I mean, that would be a kind of a cool twist on the story. You miss anything about the 9 to 5 life? I mean, there are honestly benefits to it. Work that has that more kind of 9 to 5 nature where there's, it's almost like autopilot. I don't get to autopilot my brain anymore. And when you get a job like that and you get to a point where you don't really have to think much, it's kind of more repetitive, low-end work, then... it allows you to just kind of be productive without really having to think much. And that can be a nice feeling sometimes. It's almost an excuse to get out of your own head for a little while. But, favorite Pixar film? I don't want to talk about Pixar. I'm done with them. It's a cultural phenomenon that I'm no longer interested in. I don't want to see these fucking animated bullshit movies anymore. I'm done. I'm sorry, they were okay for a while, but I'm just done. No want to see anymore. My job involves nothing but thinking. Cool. You are a sad and strange little man. I'm not very little, but I agree with the rest of that. Thoughts on private for-profit prisons? We talked about that last night. We're not going to talk about the prison system. Coco. Fuck Coco. Your job is to review movies. Yeah. Whatever movies I want. You can't do that in STEM. Okay. Did you like the TJ intro on DP the other night? I hope he wasn't too harsh. Oh yeah, dude. No, I like hearing TJ do his ego death rap and shit. Lemon haze. Okay. I just masturbated and it felt great. Cool, man. Congratulations on that orgasm, bro. Everybody give this man a round of applause. He's achieved orgasm, which is always a bright spot in the day, so... Good night, Paul. Got to get up early tomorrow. Well, good night. Thoughts on Vsauce? Vsauce? I have no thoughts. I have no idea who that is. I'm honored. Thank you. Yeah, buddy. There you go. Look at that round of applause coming through. Every orgasm should be celebrated with a fucking standing ovation, dude. It really is a bright spot in human existence, and like, you can't be mad at somebody for getting a nut, you know what I mean? You feel me? Like, we really should let's stop celebrating the stupid garbage fucking Hallmark holidays and just start having a national 10 seconds of clapping for all the nuts that got blown that day. You know what I mean? Just like every day at fucking 9 p.m. right before bed, everybody stands around and just goes, all right, anybody else blow a load today? I know I did. Oh, yeah, this one's for you. Why not? You know, why we celebrate shit that nobody has any connection to anymore? You know, let's celebrate the real things that people like to do. People like to blow a load, man. You think I'm on to something? Yeah, I know I'm on to something. I'm always on to something. It's kind of like the pledge at that point. I mean, sure, it would be, you know, you wouldn't have to. If you want to be a fucking sour skittle and sit down, never fucking enjoy an orgasm and never applaud anybody else who got the rare chance to enjoy an orgasm, then you can do that. I'm not going to force you, but I know I'd be taking advantage of that clap session every day. Have you ever read Watchmen? Way better as a comic than a film. No. 420 should be Vice Day. You give in to your desires, like the Purge, but without the death thing, or the full death thing. IDK. Okay. Maybe just, yeah, maybe we will have no murder. Nah, no murder. No, I don't know. Maybe murder. The Purge is a stupid idea. It's a pretty stupid movie, too. Paul, do you blow inside or pull out? That is a that's a way too personal of a question, dude. I'm not going to tell you that, dude. You're just going to have to guess. You know, some things are sacred, and where my load lands is sacred, okay? I thought the whole premise of the Purge was that the Purge is a bad idea and doesn't work. Well, yeah, I mean, but it's such a bad idea that it doesn't even make sense that any society would have ever agreed to it, period. Or that anybody would have ever passed it. It's just the most retarded idea ever. Paul, why did you say that you wanted for the peasants to not talk about that time when you were walking and said that the time when you asked it? The reason for that is that I do the think that B 4-2 come like B 4-2 think. And furthermore, I be a cuttlefish, backwards, Hadouken, 93, PO inch, perm. You know what I mean? So, I hope that fucking clears it up for you. No problem, no problem. The Purge would be an interesting premise for a film involving the political rise of the new founding fathers and the culture that allows something like The Purge. What you think? I mean, I don't know. Maybe somebody could do something with it, but it doesn't really fire my imagination like some ideas do, you know? I really don't like these kind of like stabs at alternate history films most of the time. For being as cynical as you are, do you really support democracy, Paul? If you ask me, the average person is just too stupid and or too busy with life to be adequately politically minded. I don't think that that's the case. And I do think that people have the ability. It's just that people don't, like, they're not given the resource. This is a hard one to explain because I think that humans have the capacity to be extraordinarily political minded across the strata of intelligence and all of that shit. They're just not given any reason to, because a lot of people, myself included, have figured out that our elections, especially at the top end of the government, are basically reality television. There's no actual choice in the selection process of the initial people running, and there's no real choice, as we saw in the primaries, with regards to who we get. So the person that's in the White House, it's just reality TV. It's just, it's entertainment now. And not a lot of people are all that entertained by it. So they've tuned out and they've decided to focus on other things. That's why this, like, the social issues have taken another tick up. You know, people are looking for something to care about outside of the political sphere. Wow, Paul, great moves. Keep it up. Proud of you. Whoa, great moves? Great moves? Sitting around watching 30 tabs of increasingly degenerate porn is unhealthy. This is obvious, I think, and all porn leads to more intense porn. I mean, yeah, if you're at the point where you've got 30 tabs of increasingly degenerate porn, then I mean, who's doing that? You know what I mean? Yeah, just open more tabs, man. Paul has saggy face tits. Saggy face tits? You talking about these? Oh yeah, you like that? Sweet. What's the best movie trilogy? I mean, my favorite is probably, you know, just due to consistency throughout, is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So, trilogies tend to fall apart before, you know, they reach that, like, I mean, maybe the original Star Wars trilogy should be thrown in there as well. Dark Knight, nah. Dark Knight ended horribly, you know. You can't, like, end a trilogy with a terrible film, because then it's just like, okay, well, the quality went. And the last in the Dark Knight series is fucking horrible. I'm not happy they're remaking Lord of the Rings. It was done really well. Yeah, I don't even really think there's a need, but of course they want to dip their hand back in that cash register again. Do you watch H3H3? No, I don't. Thank you for the $2. Oh my God. I just don't understand. Like, why would people come into another live stream and just go, you watch H3H3? H3H3, 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 H3, and I'm just like not answering because I don't know anything about H3H3. I don't watch them, and I don't want it to be a topic of discussion. And somebody finally fucking pays to go, H3H3? I'm just like, no. But H3, do you H3, the H3? I don't even understand it. Get out of here, you. Shoo with your questions. Hey, Paul, I don't know if someone asked you already, but do you watch H3H3? makes no sense. The world makes no sense. H3, dude. Oh, man. I want to see your Pajamather in action, dude. I haven't played Abathur in a while, though. I've been on a Gazlowe kick. Dude, H3. I don't know, man. Maybe I should check him out. Never heard of him. Paul is uglier than Brett Keane. Damn. Man, why are you roasting so hard in here, man? Like, why would you step up into somebody's abode and just roast them immediately? Like, the first thing you ever say to the dude is a roast. H4. Oh, man. Review Dear Zachariah. Is that... I know Dear Zachary is a documentary. Is Dear Zachariah like the fucking oh, fuck it. Who cares? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll do Dear Zachary. Maybe not though. Do you drink H2O2 H2020? Somebody's already ruined it. You just killed it. Now the joke's not funny anymore. Congratulations. You're that guy that takes it one step too far. And then it becomes not funny anymore. Legit question, though. Is there any real possibilities of you guys getting Justin on the show? That inevitable split has me so tickled inside. Dude, I would love to. I don't know if he would come or not. I mean, he's probably smart enough to not go on the show. But it would be cool if we could, secure an interview with him. I got nothing against Justin, you know what I mean? He's never done anything to me, so it wouldn't be a roasting interview, at least not coming from me. The superior Keen, yeah. It's like Brett was the failed first experiment and Justin was the perfected final experiment, Just makes me wonder how much Justin knows about Brett, all the lies and plagiarism and doxing. Huh. Games you love. Oh, Paul, you sexy man. Get out of here, you. You should do a cold open with him. Just don't even introduce him. Just start talking and people will know. Oh, yeah, dude. That would be amazing. Like, if we could land that, tease it a little bit, it'd be a good interview no matter what. I mean, I guess maybe not no matter what. He might just clam up and not answer anything and give really boring, generic, kind of unthoughtful answers to things to avoid burning bridges with his brother or something. But if we could get him to be honest and just tell it, like, what was it like growing up with him? Give us a little insight into this dude who's spent his life talking on the internet. Xbox One X situation. Why are you always annoyed? Why aren't you? Do you live in the same fucking world I live in? Like, why aren't you annoyed? Why aren't you overcome with annoyance constantly? Because H3. That's what keeps you from being annoyed all the time. I might have to check out this H3. Yo, Paul, I need advice. Me and my friend are going to do ass for the first time. Dude, don't ask me for fucking... Let's not. We don't know that well, but he's the only person that has it. And he always wants to know if we want H3. You hid one in there, you sly dog. Xbox One X3 situation. Xbox H3H3. If you could become an immortal on the condition that you could never be able to die or kill yourself, do you need help wiping your ass, or can you still reach back there? H3H3, dude. There are truffles of H3H3s in here, yeah. What's with all these truffles of H3s? Yeah, but, I don't want to fuck around, because, his son's still pretty young. He's, 18 or 19 years old or something like that, and I don't want to bring him in, that's a really confusing time for a young adult, and, I wouldn't want to, make him face his father's fucking horribleness, but Justin's a grown-ass man. Justin, you know what I mean? I'm sure he's got stories on stories on. I just can't imagine how many great stories Justin has about Brett. And I bet all of them would be they would bring down the house. But who knows if he would do it or not. H3 is running for Knox County mayor. Really? Hey, Paul, you ever hear of the Call of Cthulhu tabletop RPG? I recommend trying it out if you get the chance. Yeah, I've actually listened to some people that play that tabletop RPG in a series on YouTube, and it sounds pretty fun. All right, well, I'm done. Thank you guys. Have a good night.